Hey, internet, friends, family, random people who have stumbled upon this video. If you don't know me, my name's Riley. Brief internet introduction. This is so weird talking to a camera. Usually when I'm talking to a camera, I'm doing like Snapchats or Instagrams, and I'm literally just doing them for fun, but I kind of wanted to start something for myself as an outlet. I honestly don't think I'm that much of a creative person. I'm not very good at drawing. I can't sing. I can't dance. Like, I don't play any sports. I don't really have any kind of like outlets for myself. There will be cats in this video, BTW, so you're welcome. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot of outlets personally, and I really like YouTube, as many of us do, and I really like talking. Hey, here we are. Here she comes. It's gonna be fun editing this. I personally cope with depression, and I do cope with anxiety as well. I'm sorry, this is just glorious. I do cope with anxiety as well. Just a quick backstory, I guess, on my mental health history. I had a wonderful childhood. My mom was a single mom, and she raised me magnificently. I love my mom. We do a lot of stuff together. I'm sorry, you're taking away from the seriousness. I don't think I started becoming super, I guess, like, didn't realize my symptoms of depression until I was in my first year of university, and I just got like really depressed for whatever reason. But it happened, and I went through it for a solid year, where I was like in bed constantly. I skipped classes, blah blah. That's another video, honestly. I'm 25 now, and over the past 2 years, I've kind of come to accept that, okay, like, this is me. This is what I deal with on a daily basis, and that's okay. This video today is going to be a little bit about mental health and relationships. Specifically, obviously, pulling from my own personal experience, having depression and coping with depression and anxiety. And part of it not knowing that I was dealing with these issues. Like, I had these issues, I guess you could say. So without further ado, let's talk about it. I'm hoping to post this video on Bell Let's Talk Day, so hashtag Bell Let's Talk. If you have an iPhone and you're with Bell in Canada as your service provider, please turn off your iMessages for the day. You can live without the blue bubble for one day. I believe it's every text message that's sent through Bell as a service provider on that day. They will donate 10 cents to associations that help people cope and recover from mental health issues, eating disorders, depression, anxiety. And again, I'm sorry I'm getting off track, but I checked out their website, and actually I would encourage all of you to do that as well. It actually shows you where all of the money is going, which is really cool, as well as I checked out a lot of other people's stories. And it was really informative, and I learned a lot, and I really, actually, am super glad that I did that, because I honestly didn't know too much. I was like, yes, this is a positive thing, and I was like, but why is it a positive thing, Riley? Why? I encourage all of you to do that. I'll link it in the description box below. I'm such a YouTuber. Just kidding. But yeah, I encourage you to do that. Talking about mental health issues and relationships, personally, I think that this issue, I hate calling it an issue, but like, these circumstances, I guess you could say, of one partner having struggles with mental health and another partner not having struggles with mental health. We all struggle with mental health at some point in our lives, but if you have one partner who has chronic mental health issues like recurrent depression, anxiety, personality disorders, OCD, stuff like that, if you have one person who suffers more than the other, or even just one person who copes and one person who doesn't cope at all and is totally stable in their mental health, which is fantastic, but I personally believe that this can make or break a relationship. This is my opinion. Obviously, people have different opinions, but I think that if you have one partner who doesn't understand what you're going through, and one partner I feel like there are some people still out there who believe that mental health issues are not real and don't take them seriously. And if you're dating someone like that, or if you're in a partnership with somebody like that, and you're trying to stay in recovery, or you're even trying to get to the point where you are able to be in recovery, or you're just going through it on the daily, and your partner doesn't support you or doesn't believe that you're dealing with these issues, that's hard. And that can, I personally believe that can make or break your relationship. It's a rocky road for sure. So first things first. But first things first, before first things first, is you truly cannot love somebody else if you do not love yourself first. And this was a huge mistake that I have made in the past. One of my first very serious, well, it wasn't very serious, but one of my first serious relationships in university, when I was dating this guy, I wasn't too happy with myself. Like, when I first got into university, I was very confident, I think, super outgoing. And then school really stressed me out, and as the semesters went on and I was having trouble with my classes and stuff, my self-esteem kind of dropped, and I started getting depressed, and then that's kind of what kickstarted the whole cycle. So yeah, you have to love yourself before you can love somebody else. Shout out RuPaul. Because it's true. You have to take care of you first, and then you're more than welcome to take care of your partner second, or your children. I think if you're a mom, I'm not a mom, but I can only imagine how hard it would be to be coping with mental health issues and be a parent. So kudos to you. If you're going through it, keep going. But you just remember, like, you have to love yourself, and I know it's hard, but sometimes you have to put yourself first and do what's best for you to make sure that you're okay. That was a thing, and I just didn't love myself at the time, and I would heavily depend on, like, compliments and, like, pick-me-ups and from my partner, and it just ended up becoming that I think I was a bit really needy. At the time, I was very clingy. I couldn't do anything, like, without him, or I wanted to do stuff with him constantly. I didn't make a lot of time for my friends. God bless my friends who I still have, who were with me through that rough patch, because I was a shitty person. Like, I was a shitty person. I put him over everybody else, including my family, and you should never, ever, ever, ever do that. Again, love yourself. Aria's over there loving herself. Dude, I remember just being really fucking down all the time, and just, like, if he didn't compliment me, or, like, if he didn't want to spend time with me, in my head, I was like, well, you're a piece of shit, so you know what you need to do? You need to starve yourself. You need to make yourself throw up, so you can be skinnier, so he'll want you. Maybe if you dye your hair blonde and spend all the money in your bank account on him, to make yourself more desirable, then maybe he'll want me. But that's not how it should be. I'm also going to touch on a subject that is, I don't know if everyone will agree on it, but substances in relationships, especially if one or both partners are suffering or coping with mental health issues. Be careful. If you are going to drink, or if you're going to use drugs in a relationship, tread lightly. Tread lightly. A lot of arguments that I would have with multiple of my boyfriends in the past, a lot of them started because we were drinking. And we would go out and party, and then, like, one of us or both of us would get mad at something fucking stupid, and then it would blow up and it would turn into something quite extensive. I took a break from drinking in 2017, which some of you might laugh at, but I didn't go out and party as much as I did in 2016. Partially because I wanted to save money. I'll be completely fucking honest with you. 2017 was a rough year for me work-wise, and I'm going to make another video on that as well. But obviously I don't like being financially dependent on other people. I work for a living. I work full time. I buy my own things, like I said before. So I didn't want to go out and spend all my money on drinking every other weekend because that's silly. But also it brings you down mentally, I feel like. I personally don't like, nobody likes a hangover, but I personally don't like waking up hungover, especially if I'm feeling like low to begin with. It's going to bring you down. We all know that alcohol and even like weed is a downer. And if you smoke weed, that's cool. That's fine. Live your life. I've done it in the past. I don't do it anymore because personally it's not my thing. I have friends who do it. I truly don't give a shit. For me, in a past relationship, the center of my world was him, and the center I felt of his world was weed. And I remember this one time we were, I had a midterm the next day, I think, and he had some kind of big project due, but he had to go and pick up. And we were driving around till around like 2 o'clock in the morning, and he was getting so frustrated and so mad because he couldn't pick up, and like there was a huge issue with it. And then again, for some reason, I really don't know why, but for some reason I kind of took that on myself, and I was like, well, does he need to be high to hang out with me? Like, does he need to smoke to like to just be with me? Am I that big of a burden to that like my boyfriend can't hang out with me when he's sober? Like, okay. So like it was such a big issue for him to have. And yeah, I'm just gonna stop there. I'm just gonna stop the rant. But yeah, personally for me, I think it's just like, for me, again, it's tread lightly and know yourself too. Don't let somebody pressure you into doing substances with them or drinking with them on the daily, because obviously we know that's not healthy. And again, it goes back to just loving yourself first. Take care of you first. If you don't want to fucking do it, don't do it. Say no. You're allowed to say no. Yeah, in that relationship, I really thought, I was like, oh, sick. Like, I found my husband in university. Like, we're going to have the cutest story. I'll tell all our friends. Like, we're going to have, like, the cutest wedding. And then I was so, again, I was so invested in him. Like, I put him on a fucking golden pedestal. And he just wasn't. Kind of fucked me up, you guys. Like, it kind of, like, and I shouldn't have let it, obviously. Tim's break. I shouldn't have let it get to that extent. But again, like, not an excuse, but I was young at the time, and I was going through some things that I didn't realize that I was dealing with. Dude, if I was in bed all day, sad, crying, just down overall, I would expect him to ask me what's wrong, and I feel like that's a reasonable request. I feel like that's a reasonable request. I mean, you should check up on the person that you're supposed to be in love with. But I would also expect him to fix it. This habit of mine I carried into a couple relationships. And I've kind of realized that, like, I cannot depend on somebody to fix me. And neither can you. It's important that you realize, yes, I love this person, but they're not the solution to my problem. You are the solution to your problem. Get up and do things that you love. Get up and go to the gym. Go for a walk. You go see your family. Go hang out with your friends. Use your support systems. Utilize that support system that you have. And if you don't have a support system, you have me. Message me. Call me. Text me. I will help you. Because I don't want anybody to feel alone the way that I have felt alone in the past. And I'm not saying that I didn't have a support system, because I do have a fantastic support system. Friends and family, as well as my current partner. Like, one of the things that depression does to you is it makes you feel like you're alone. And if you've gone through it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You don't want to be a burden. You don't want to bother people. You don't want to cry in front of somebody. You don't want to interrupt somebody's busy day because you're feeling down for absolutely no fucking reason, and you have no reason to feel that way. But you do, because you're battling something inside of you that tells you everything is not okay. And that's hard to deal with. That's a mind game. That's a Jedi mind trick that depression plays with you, and it's okay to reach out for help. But also, just make sure that you're self-aware. I found that that's kind of contradicting, I feel like. Be like, yes, go, like, ask for help. It's great, but then also, I'm not saying don't, but like, I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say here, and that might seem a little bit redundant because that's the point of this kind of video, but like, it's a self-discovering thing. I know that sounds like super fucking cheesy, but like, just take a moment, take a moment for you, think about you, and then if you're still at that point where you cannot get up, or you can't pick yourself up, then reach out to your support systems. And if that is your partner, that's awesome. But all I'm saying is that please try and not depend on them to fix you, because you do need to be self-sufficient, I feel like. You do need to be self-sufficient, and you need to utilize your resources to help yourself get better. And I think that's really super important. Anyway, yeah, I would just want him to fix me. And obviously that didn't work out well. And I feel like he didn't know that I was going through these kind of issues. Like, I feel like he had no fucking clue. But I also feel like he was the kind of person to, like, not believe that these kind of things were real. When I went on a trip to Las Vegas with my mom, actually, and I went to EDC. And what kind of kicked me in the face was that I realized that I didn't miss him. Like, I was gone, and I was on this vacation for, like, a week and a half, and I was like, wow, like, I feel a lot less stressed now. And then I was like, he would, like, text me or, like, try and call me, and I'd be like, not today, Satan, not today. And that's kind of when I realized, I was like, oh, this is over, like, this is done. So then I got back and I broke up with him, and then obviously, like, I did the thing that every girl does, and I'm like, I'm sorry, like, just kidding, and then I realized it's okay to be alone. Mind blown. It's okay to be alone. Yeah. It's okay to be alone. It's okay to be alone. It's okay to be alone. You do you, girl. Yeah. Or boy. Or whatever you go by. But yeah, it's okay to be alone, and having a relationship with yourself, again, sounds kind of cheesy, but having a good relationship with you before you have a relationship with somebody else is so important. It is so important. And it takes a long fucking time. It takes a long time. It takes a long time to love yourself. It takes a long time to be happy with who you are. It takes a long fucking time, and that's okay. Take your time. Don't rush these kinds of things. Yeah, I just think that's really important. Like, have a good relationship with yourself. A lot of the feelings that I would experience, like, in past relationships are feelings of, like, being really needy, feeling useless, being ugly, like, feeling lazy. I felt like I was annoying. I felt like I was a burden, lost, super lonely, super antisocial. And again, this goes back the whole fucking root of it all. Know yourself and put yourself first. There have been multiple times in past relationships where I have felt obligated to be a part of a social setting when I did not feel social, because my boyfriend's friends would come over to our house where we were living. They would be there, and I would feel like I'd have to hang out with them and participate, otherwise I'm a bitch, or like I'm just being grumpy, or I'm like some kind of moody label, when in reality I just need to recharge my batteries. I'm the kind of person that, like, I will happily be social with you and go out with you. I like to hang out with my friends one-on-one. I rarely do group settings. Like, it's a special occasion. I have a couple good girlfriends who I'm okay with doing group social situations with, but honestly, it's fucking rare that I'm in a big setting, unless, like, I'm going to a festival, which is maybe 3 or 4 times a year, but those are spaced out, and I can mentally prepare myself to be in that kind of big setting. But I like to be alone. So when you're trying to explain this to somebody who doesn't get it, especially if they're a partner, it's hard. Like, it sucks. Or I don't really feel like having a group therapy session with all of my boyfriend's friends being like, hey guys, you know me, I'm dating this guy. Just so you all know, I am super fucking depressed and I have anxiety and I don't really feel like hanging out with you guys right now. So like, I'm not being a bitch, but like, just leave me alone. I don't want to do that. So I just feel like it's important that your partner knows that, and I feel like it's important that your partner sticks the fuck up for you and like doesn't label you as a moody bitch, because that's not nice and that's not fair and that's not true. So that's one thing that I've learned from being in those kind of situations and being in those kind of relationships, is that like communication is key, obviously. But yeah, it's so fucking important. Like I can't stress it enough that like you just need to love yourself, you just need to know yourself, you need to communicate with your partner, and I hope that your partner understands kind of what you're going through and what you're dealing with. I don't know. I would just like push myself away from everybody when I get into those moods. And one of the biggest things I did in a previous relationship that he pointed out to me, and I refused to believe it, but I believe it now, and I'm sorry about it. I would push my partner away when I was feeling some type of way. And I feel like I did that for a couple of reasons. One, because I was like, oh, well, if I push him away, he's going to come right back to me, and I'm going to hear what I want, and I'm going to be all better. No, that's not right. You can't do that to people who you love. You can't manipulate people like that. And that's something that I've learned, and that's something, again, I was a shitty person for a couple of years. That's something that I have learned, and I'm working on not doing. Again, it's just some self-validation and some self-love and some self-realization. Yeah, I would do that, and I would push people away, friends, family, partners, and I kind of ruined a previous relationship. Like, we had a lot of trust issues and like other issues that would that caused our demise, but like one of the biggest things was me being kind of, I don't know, me being me, I guess, and just pushing him away and then refusing to find a resolve. So like if I did push him away and I was doing whatever, and he would be like, okay, well, like what do I do? And then me being like, nothing, like there's nothing you can do to help me. That's wrong. Like, obviously, it's very wrong. If people want to help you, let them in. And at the time, like, I honestly and truly believed that I was like, I'm never getting better. I'm never going to be happy again. I only get fleeting moments of happiness. I'm never going to be completely happy again. But when someone says, what can I do to help you? Again, let's just inhale for a moment. Let's just exhale for a moment and think, what can we do in this exact situation to change how you're feeling? I know that seems like a giant question, but I think it's an important question, and I think it's a valid question, because if you're laying there on the floor crying because you're so sad, because you're so down about yourself, and someone says, what can I do to help you? Think about that. This is everything. I don't want to feel like this. Okay, let's not be here. Let's just get up and go. And everything inside of you will tell you to stay. Everything inside of you will tell you to lay down on the floor some more and cry some more. This will be the hardest thing that you will ever cope with, perhaps. Fight it. Get up and go. Get out of the situation that you're in. Go for a walk. Go for a drive. Go to a friend's house. Hop on a bus. Go on a mini adventure. Fight it. I have personally gotten out of situations where like I'm like sobbing uncontrollably, or I'm so sad and I have to get up and I have to go somewhere, or else something is like, I just need to go. And I have gotten onto the city bus and just rode around the city for a couple of hours, sobbing on the bus in front of other people, and then I come home and I'm still sad, but you know what? I got outside today. Gold star for me. It's an achievement unlocked. You have to make yourself uncomfortable to grow, to change, and to learn, and to move forward. And sometimes you have to do that alone. Sometimes you can do that with a partner, and that's great. But it's just, I love the moral of this video. Love yourself before you can love someone else. It's insane. The last thing you should do is push somebody away. The real thing that you should do is go on a bus ride and cry. No, I'm just kidding. The real thing that you should do is open up and don't push people away. If you truly and honestly need alone time, tell them. Just be like, I am in a place right now where I need to be alone. I will start saying mean things. Personally, I am vicious. That's not something that I want to be as a person. But I know that I can be fucking mean. And that's one thing that I used to do in previous relationships, is that I will tear you apart verbally. I have no shame in admitting that. I did it. I'm not gonna hide it. That's verbal abuse. That's wrong. And like, I've been verbally abused, and I've been emotionally abused, and I've been physically abused, and it's like, no, like, you shouldn't fucking do that. But like, you know what I mean? If you go through it, then why are you repeating that action and doing it to somebody else? It's not good. And you just have to communicate if you need your alone time before you get to that state of where you know you're gonna be spitting mad fire, bro. Just kidding. Word vomit, I guess, like, is the nicest way that I can put it. If you know you're gonna be in a word vomit situation where you're gonna start saying mean things, and I know sometimes we all get heated, we all get mad, we say things that we don't mean, and that happens. And we don't mean it, but you know what? It's gonna fucking happen. That's life. And if you feel yourself building up to that point, say, I need to be alone before I pop off. And I've done that multiple times, and it's actually worked for me in past relationships where we've gotten into arguments, and I'm like, look, like, I'm at the point right now where I'm about to start saying stupid shit because I'm so heated. Please leave me alone and stop talking to me. If they're with you in person and they won't leave you alone, again, get up and leave. You're not chained to the floor. You can go for a walk. Get out, leave, go away. If you are talking to that person via text or on the phone, you will not die if you block them. They will still be there. Let them know, hey, you're pushing my buttons to the point where now I literally have to block your number because I need to be alone. That is loving yourself. You don't need to sit there and take shit from somebody if you're in a bad place, because I truly believe that if you guys are heated and going at it for hours and hours and hours, what does that solve? Like, what is your overall goal here? Just to rip each other apart? Like, obviously not. So yeah, it's just something that you need to take ownership of. First of all, take ownership of your attitude and take ownership of your actions, obviously, and do something that will benefit you. If that's hitting the block button, if that's leaving, do it. I've done it multiple times myself in previous relationships. Sometimes I still fucking do it. Technology has such a fucking impact on us now, and it's just crazy to me. Communication is key. Don't push people away. It's just cray. Yeah, I don't really know what else I can talk about in this video. Like, if you guys have questions, let me know. If you wanted to see something that I didn't talk about, let me know. The goal of this video was to talk about things that I personally have done to kind of self-sabotage myself, honestly. I didn't really want to talk too much about my exes in this video because that's not fair to them. And honestly, like, every relationship is a two-way street. There's obviously stuff that, like, my exes have done to me that was really fucking shitty, but there's obviously stuff that I have done to them, and, like, I don't want to say, like, the whole thing was because I was suffering from mental illness and I didn't know what was happening to me and I didn't know why I was feeling this way, but, like, a lot of it was that, and it has, like, a huge effect on my relationships, obviously. And I think a lot of stuff that I touched on in this video is completely accurate to why some of my relationships didn't work. It's just so important, again, to, like, you just have to love yourself. Like, you just have to love yourself. I know that sounds so fucking silly, but you just do, man. Like, you have to be responsible for yourself. Like, you have to. Just love yourself. Communication is key. Strive to be a better you. strive to be a better unit in a relationship. And you know what? Like, if you are trying, like truly, truly trying in your relationship to make things work and it's not working, that's a sign that maybe that's not the right relationship with you, for you. There has been times in the past, obviously, I'm sure we all have felt like this, where we go through a breakup and we're like, okay, cool, that's it. Like, that was the one. Like, that was my one, and I'm gonna be alone forever. Like, I'm useless. Like, no, you'll be okay, and you'll find somebody else who loves you, who will treat you like gold. You'll find your best friend, and it'll be okay. And in the meantime, when you're alone with you, you are your best friend. You are the best solution for yourself. You have friends and you have family who love you, and those people are just important to you and in your life as finding a romantic partner. Don't ever take those people for granted, because in the end, they can be a rock. Again, I'm sorry that this was a little bit of a scattered video. My first time talking to a camera, trying to be a little bit serious. I probably also have ADD as well as on top of all this, because I get so sidetracked. Reminding you all to love yourselves, and reminding you all that you are not alone. And if you're having a bad day today, that's okay. There's tomorrow. And if you're having a great day today, I'm so happy for you, and keep up the good work. If you're going through it, keep fucking going. And I will see you guys in the next video that I make. Goodbye!